OK, let's turn now to David DeRoche, who is a professor at the National Defence University and a former Pentagon official. He joins us now from Washington, D.C. Thank you for being with us. Hearing then there from our correspondent in Washington, D.C., that the Israeli Prime Minister being very clear that he thanked the US President in his address to the public. So clearly the Israeli Prime Minister keen to secure and let the world see that he is very strong when it comes to his relationship with the US President. And what do you think that the US, though, what will the administration do from here?
It's not the answer you want, but it remains to be seen. I mean, I'm not sure how much you can read into making effusive remarks about Donald Trump other than the fact that the United States is very important to Israel, and Donald Trump is not a person who shrinks from receiving praise. So it may just be that this is part of the speechwriter's formula when you do a talk that needs U.S. support. I think that what Israel will expect from the United States is continued use of defensive assets against a third Iranian missile strike on Israel. So I believe there's a THAAD battery still, two THAAD batteries in Israel. And what they really need are us to move anti-missile ships into the Mediterranean so that they could conduct high atmospheric and exo-atmospheric intercept of Iranian missiles, the top flight Iranian missiles, if they're launched at Israel.
OK, David, Marco Rubio, though, they're saying, making it very clear to separate the fact that this was, he said, Israel's action against Iran and not US action against Iran. Why is he being very clear to do that? Is it because clearly he doesn't want any retaliation from Iran back at the US?
Well, occasionally a politician tells the truth. I think this is the truth. Israel has always pursued its own security interest as it sees fit. And if they think their security is imperiled by a difference with the United States, they will not take any counsel from the United States. So when they attacked the Iraqi nuclear program, the Syrian nuclear program, invaded Lebanon in 1978, launched a raid on the PLO headquarters in Tunis, they did all of that without seeking any consent from the United States. I think the issue here is, we forget, talks between the U.S. and Iran are still scheduled for this weekend in Muscat. And Rubio, I think that the Israelis were chomping at the bit, were restraining themselves to see if there was progress in the talks, and finally said, we can't wait anymore. Our security is imperiled. And I think it's probably more likely than not that Rubio is telling the truth, that this is something the Israelis felt they had to do for a long time, held in abeyance to see how the talks went. When it appears that the talks have hit a tough point or have hit a point that they can't move any further, then Israel does what it's going to do.
David, you mentioned those talks there that were due to take place, nuclear talks between the US and Iran in Muscat this Sunday coming. We've had commentators, experts say to us today, this evening, they've said to us that they don't believe that those talks will take place, pretty much 99% sure that they won't. What's your view there? Do you think that those nuclear talks, the next round of them, very vital talks, will still take place?
So if I were advising the American government, I would say fly to Muscat, even if you know the Iranians will not show up, to show a willingness to do this, because the United States is a democracy and can't take military actions without the support of its population. And that requires our government to show the people that they've done everything possible short of war. I think that it would be very, very difficult for an Iranian delegation, given the rhetorical corner they've painted themselves into, talking about the great Satan, the United States, the little Satan, Israel. I think it'd be very difficult for them to engage in talks with the United States after an attack like this.
OK, and then in terms of escalation then, in terms of the worldview, clearly other countries, not only in the region but in the world, will be concerned about the Middle East. Already the instability clear for everyone to see, not only with Israel's war on Gaza, but also other regional conflicts. What does this do for the region? Does it make it, seems like an obvious answer, but does it make it more unstable in the Middle East?
Well, also remains to be seen. Israel would argue that it will make it more stable because Iran will have to focus on, defending its homeland and its assets. Will have less power to project overseas. Bear in mind, Israel has been under an intermittent missile barrage with Iranian missiles launched from the Houthis in Yemen. So they would argue it makes it more stable, but there's no shortage of experts who will tell you that this will just embolden the Iranians to disperse their military capability, build and acquire new military capabilities, and then hopefully launch stuff, in their point of view, launch a lot of stuff in order to reestablish a position of Iranian untouchability. I think that what is most likely is that in the short term, Israel will have an advantage and will press that advantage. But at the end of the day, all military solutions ultimately are political, and there's going to have to be some kind of a political solution. The question is which side will have the most leverage when they do it.
OK, David DeRoche, professor at the National Defense University and former Pentagon official, joining us from Washington, D.C. Thank you very much for your time and your expertise.